Hello, everybody, and welcome back. And I think this will be our last stop of the evening. I cannot get a hold of Coach Kevin Creasy, nor can I get a hold of Coach Donnie Webb. So we will move, and I saved the best for last. Then the guy I started this all with back in 2009. I stood out and did my first coach's show with him, and he stuck right with me, and he's still with me today. And been out on the golf course, but we're talking to the head coach of William Blount Governors, head coach Philip Shadowens. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Doing great. Stork, what about yourself?
I am fantastic, and you know what? I go right through. Well, I go right up through I-40 as I go over to build the towers that I got going on in North Carolina and South Carolina. But I think about you guys every time I roll through Knoxville, and I keep rolling toward Asheville and going on over.
Well, one of these times on a Friday night, you're going to make a detour off I-40 and come on down to Blount County and see what them Govs have to offer.
I definitely, and you know what? It is on the agenda. We are going to come to a William Blount Governor game and come over, and maybe that next year, that's where we do our we decide to do one game, and maybe you can get that game on Saturday night next year, and we'll just come to your place. That'd be great.
That'd be great. We'd love to have you.
That'd be great. Well, let's talk a little bit of William Blount Governor football. Talk to me a little bit, Coach. What do you got in numbers?
Counting freshmen and everything, 77, something like that, high 70s, I think it is. I think from a freshman class standpoint, we don't have as many as we normally do because all this COVID stuff that hit us in March. You know how it is, and it's hard for parents to get your kids there, and you're not in school and that type of stuff. And obviously, young kids can't drive, so I think it's hurt everybody's freshman numbers a little bit in talking around here. But our numbers are still pretty good. We got 21, something like that. I think 22 freshmen, which is not a big class, but it's certainly not a terrible class either, but pretty athletic class. But been working real hard all summer long, as much as you can do, with all the rules that we had. But we had great attendance all summer long, and when they said it was time to go, our kids were ready to roll. So we're looking forward to getting this thing started.
You had some changes at the stadium or something. I don't know. Y'all been working on it or something, or trying to fresh it up. Any logistics there?
Not really. We redid the stadium really 2 years ago, to be honest with you. Kind of did a lot of things, got a lot of bids out there, and kind of asked the county to step in and kind of upgrade the stadium because it was in disrepair. Not in disrepair, it just needed, let's be honest, they built it in 79, I believe, and they hadn't really done a whole lot to it since then. So it's a beautiful stadium. They kind of resurfaced all the concrete and that type of thing, and it's a beautiful place to watch a football game and to play a football game, that's for sure.
Well, maybe it was y'all were pressure washing out there or something.
Yeah, we've done plenty of that. But
okay, that's what it was.
We resurfaced all the concrete. It looks like a brand new stadium, 2 years ago when we got it, and it still looks really good today. Maybe it was a year and a half ago when we got it, but it certainly looked like a brand new stadium. I guess last year was the first year for the new stadium, actually. So it did look good, and of course it's going to be a while before we play at home. It looks like, but we're excited about getting it started.
Coach, what is so you got to hit? So when they gave you the green light from the governor and everything, and you finally got a couple of days or whatever, what was kind of had you already been in the running process, or did you?
Oh yeah, we've been working Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays like we always do. It just been you couldn't do anything except against air. You couldn't do anything 11 on 11. You couldn't do anything 7 on 7. You couldn't really do anything from a team standpoint, especially, defensively. You can throw the ball to 4 or 5 receivers, but defensively you couldn't really do anything. And so I thought that's where we were kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit with the timetable we have. But our kids have been working all summer long. We're probably in better condition than any team I've had since I've been here, for sure. And kids just worked hard. You had to kind of be creative in the weight room because you couldn't have many in there at one time. And so we'd move things out to the track, and we'd get as much lifting as you can get done, and then we'd do all our speed and conditioning and agility work, and our kids bought into that. Our kids really worked hard, and so when we got the unexpected green light this early, right. I'd kind of succumbed to the idea, hey, our first game would probably be September 18th. I think that's kind of what everybody thought, and then all of a sudden the governor gave us the go ahead, and here we are. We're a week away from Friday night football, so we can't wait.
I bet you can't. So what are you looking at Friday night? So you're going on the road. So what does that look like?
Logistically, 2 buses for us will be fine. The biggest thing is how you're going to do water.
Okay.
And how you're going to do Gatorade. And because you're not supposed to share bottles and that type of stuff. And it's hard to take 65 bottles with somebody's number on it and logistically get those things filled and make sure you have the, 11 bottles of the people that are playing on the field ready to go if it's a timeout, that kind of stuff. So my wife and I made an early run this morning to Old Sam's and bought a bunch of small water bottles and Gatorades.
Yep, that's what Coach Mac's doing. It's all disposable water bottles, the little bitty ones. You're right. Just spin the top and go with it. Yep, keep them
right.
going.
Yep, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to have bottles available for a kid. We want to squirt some kid on top of the head because it gets hot or whatever. Right. We're going to have someone in charge of doing that, but they're not going to drink out of them. But they can squirt them with it or whatever they want to. But we're going to have lots of small water bottles and the biggest thing, then you got to carry all that. You got to ice all that down, and that's not an easy thing because you really don't have the kind of managers that we've always had because that's they're not really supposed to. Some kid probably didn't want to touch 14, 25, 30 bottles, whatever at a time. And so my wife, as she always has, and our trainer. And we'll use some, some freshmen that aren't dressing out on Friday night. We'll use some of those guys to help us a little bit on the sideline, and we'll make it happen. I spent more time, I can tell you, as a football coach, dealing with non-football type of things than I ever have. And here's in my 27th year as a head coach. But that's part of it, man. I feel like we're blessed that we get to play. When you look around the country, and there's so many. I think there's 15 states now that aren't playing, and you got some, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten that aren't playing, and so, look, I'm not going to sit around and gripe about all the silly things we have to do right now or all the over-the-top kind of things we have to do, but I'm just glad our kids get the opportunity to play football.
Talked to Coach McDaniel, and he said the same thing, and just wants to finish, Coach, would like the opportunity that even if we run into a bump in the road, we get it calmed down, and then but continue on. Don't just freak out the minute we get a little bit of a rise or whatever, but let's drop back and try to figure it out. But let others continue to play until we get to a point. And I'm not saying until we're burying kids, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, just be conscientious of what we're doing.
Right. I mean, if we're trying to do the right things, we know viruses in general, the flu, whether it's something like the flu or whether it's a stomach virus, we know those things are contagious, and so. I mean, whether it's strep throat people are getting or it's flu season or if it's some kind of stomach virus or some other kind of virus. I mean, we know those things are dangerous or can be dangerous to certain people. Unfortunately, I've said this repeatedly, every year, here in East Tennessee or when I was in Middle Tennessee, you would hear of unfortunately, a 12-year-old who got sick with the flu and for whatever reason, their body reacted differently than almost everybody else's 12-year-old body would. And so, in the world, there's going to be tragedy. We don't want to do anything to push that forward. I mean, we want to do everything we can, obviously, to stop the spread. And, we're being very attentive to those things, but I'm not going to stop living. And as I've told our kids and our parents, I choose not to live in fear. I'm going to live in caution, and I'm going to do all the things that we can. But the real guy that I truly serve has taught us long ago not to live in fear. And so, and I have a lot of faith and trust in the Lord, and I'm not going to sit around and live in fear every day. We're going to be cautious. We're going to do all the things that we can. We're going to take all the proper steps. But there are no guarantees in life for me or you, Stork, or anyone else. But and we know football is not important when it comes to life, when it comes to living and dying. But I think being out of the house for kids and being around their friends and having that experience and the life lessons we learn in football, I do think that is important. And if there's any way we can save those things and continue to do that, as a free country that we have, then I think we ought to do them.
Well, and Coach Shad, you just said it. You look at our friendship. I would not be on the phone right here with you had it not been for organized football in Rutherford County. I ended up at a youth football, and then, as it progressed, and here I am today, 20 years later, but it's all because a bunch of people in Rutherford County love the game, and I show up at a youth football thing, and next thing you know, you're a part of a whole organization that's moving forward, and this is what we do. I mean, Coach Dye always talked about it to me and said, we're in the South, we're an agrarian society, it's what we do, we love playing sports and playing outside. It's just a part of our society.
Well, it needs to stay that way, to be honest with you. I mean, the last thing we need or our kids need is more reasons to stay inside and play video games and Snapchat and Instagram and all the Twitter stuff and all that stuff. Lord have mercy. We need to be outside the house. We need to see people face to face. We need to, not only our kids, our adults. I'm 53 years old and I need that. I don't want to stay
Absolutely.
inside my house as well. We need that, but children especially, you don't want to, it's almost as if because this virus has come about and, that it's almost as if that we've all become, or we're in jeopardy of all becoming really, really lazy. Let's sit inside and do nothing but watch TV. Let's sit inside and stay on a computer. And and I know that's not healthy living. Mentally, it's not healthy. Physically, it's not healthy. And so there's other concerns with just getting a virus that we know that most children and most young people, and unless they have other health issues, are able to not really be affected hardly at all by this thing. And so, I hope we don't give in to all the politics that seem to be driving some of this. And I hope our kids are able to play. And if we have a little outbreak, then certainly we'll get the medical attention we need. We'll do the things that we need to try to limit any of that. But I want kids to be able to be kids. And you only get a chance to be a kid one time. And I don't want us to focus on this virus for the next 2 years and some kids lose out on some things they never get back,
Well, Coach, and I know you only got one time run out of that tunnel with that band playing. There's you can only do it so many times, but when you do it, there's nothing like it. When you roll out of there and that band's playing on Friday night.
Well, you take one of our favorite kids we've ever coached, and I tweeted about him last night, and I texted him, and he texted me back.
Yeah, he was hot. He was fun last night. He was texting me too. He's all giddy.
He was on last night. I saw his little post game interview. I thought, wow, Sonny is locked in right now. You can tell when that kid. He's not a kid. Obviously, he's 30 years old, but still feels like a kid to me. But you can tell when he's truly focused. You can even see that in the interview. It's like he hadn't calmed down even when they did the post game interview with him. But certainly was proud. Was proud of that. But one of the things that he texted me, obviously, he's learned a lot of lessons on Friday night, and he said, Coach, Friday night's always been my night, and obviously he's a great baseball player, has been since he was a little bitty kid. But he would tell you that some of his most impressionable times and some of the things that he hangs on to every day, even as a major league pitcher, as a husband, as a father, are things that he got to learn from football, or he got lessons about in football. And he would tell you that to now, and he'll still tell you there's nothing like Friday night football when you run out of the tunnel with your buddies. And so I don't want this group of kids across the state, across the nation, to lose out on that, because you don't get it back. And as many things as a kid like Sonny, who's went and played for Team USA and had a great career at Vanderbilt and all the things he's done in Major League Baseball, he still he still looks back at those times as some of the most fondest times he's had of his life and his athletic life. And so there's a lot of people that aren't near as good as Sonny Gray. Matter of fact, most people aren't. And so, it's their one time to do it, and I hate for those kids to miss out on it. So if there's any way possible, I hope we get to continue to play, and we're opening up at Maryville Friday night, and we just can't wait to get that game going and just let kids play football and let fans be in the stands as much as we can, and let's get back to work. Let's get back to living.
Well, let me ask you this: at least you don't have to see the tailback over there this time. At least as Coach Dye said, they graduated him finally.
Yeah, they graduated 17 of them. Unfortunately, we all know this, I've been blessed to be a part of some of these things.
Yes.
We all know how this works. When you're that level of a program and you have 120, 140 kids, whatever they got in their program, it's called reloading, right? Yeah. It's not called rebuilding. It's called reloading. And so I know Maryville has reloaded, and I know they'll be a really good football team. I have no doubt about that. And but yet, certainly they don't have T, and they don't have A.J. Davis, and they have a different quarterback, and they have a bunch of different starters. But I have a feeling their bodies will look about like some of those kids did last year. That's kind of how Maryville's done it over the years. But we feel like we've made progress last year as well, and so we feel like we played a ton of sophomores and we were able to make it to playoffs for the first time at William Blount since 2007 as far as earning your way in. And so to be honest with you, we're really excited and to see where we stand, and no better way to figure that out when you play the defending state champion. So we can't wait.
Well, you know what I learned, and just like Mike Eady taught me when I got here, son, you ain't gonna know anything until we go down to Una and play. So we gotta go down to Una, and then we'll find out how good we are when we get to Una. And I didn't know what Una was, but I found out real quick, and that is, And I called a many mid-state champions. I called 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2002. And when I get the sheet for the run of the games I would have to do and do the announcing for the full day, I mean, UNA was in every game but maybe one. They dominated the league. I mean, it was just known. And you look at all the athletes that came out of there, Jalen Ramsey and Derek Barnett and, Woody Bear and the list goes, Sonny Gray, the list goes on and on. I mean, Sonny didn't play youth football in Smyrna. He played at UNA. That's where we found him.
Hey, but I wouldn't be doing my guys justice if it wasn't for the fact to mention, while you're mentioning all the UNA stuff, we got to mention the Smyrna Bulldogs now.
Oh, I love the Bulldogs. So he had a good time. Donnie Carter.
Obviously, your son played there as well, but Coach Carter and my dad helped there for many, many years.
Yes,
17
sir.
Years.
Donnie Ball.
Those days were great times. And but you're right. I mean, in UNA in Middle Tennessee in youth football was much like where Maryville is now, where they're the standard.
Yep.
And that's why Maryville's been in 6A football really since they got there for the most part. They haven't won every year, but they've won a bunch, and they've been there some years when they hadn't even won. But I mean, we look forward to it. We haven't, our program's not where theirs is from overall. We know that. But here's what I do know. For 48 minutes, a lot of things can happen, and nothing's guaranteed. And so when you give us an opportunity to kick it off at 7:30 on August the 21st, for those next 48 minutes of time on the clock, we have as good a chance as anybody in the state. So we're gonna bank on that. Our kids have worked for that, and we know the odds, and we know what everybody else thinks, and all that kind of stuff. We really don't care about all that. We just know that at 7:30 next Friday night, we get an opportunity to play against defending state champions to start the year. All of us didn't know just a couple of months ago, maybe just a few weeks ago, if we'd even get to play. So the opportunity to do that is a privilege, and we look forward to being there next Friday night at 7:30.
Well, Coach, I know one thing: you aren't scared. That's what I love about you, Coach. Be careful and travel safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, you guys be careful. I know you guys are coming up. Are you coming up Saturday for Alcoa and Blackman?
I'm coming to town. I'll be there Saturday.
All right, well, stay out of trouble now. Don't speed down Alcoa Highway, and because they will be checking radar on Saturday night. So make sure you're smart on the speed.
I promise I will obey the speed limit on Gary Rankin Way as I come into Alcoa. I will be very much so. You know why? Because Judy will be driving, so I won't have to worry. Coach,
absolutely. They know Stork's coming to town. They might be looking for you.
Hey, they are looking for me over at Maryville. You know that. So anyway, all righty, Coach. Thanks.
See you, brother.
All right, bye.